Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of theresellermindset.com. And for this Reseller Friday, I want to talk to you about should you cross list? Now, this is something over the years that people used to argue against, and the gurus out there would say, oh, you shouldn't cross list. You just spend your time on listing more items, which sounds good on the surface. And obviously, if by cross listing, they mean you go to eBay, you list an item. Then you go to Poshmark and you list that same item. Then you go to Mercari and list the same item, and so on and so forth. That's obviously wasting a lot of time. It's scattering your focus, and it's not going to produce the best results. You would be better off in that situation listing just more items on eBay or more items on Poshmark or wherever, just becoming an expert and rooted and grounded in that one marketplace and do well on it. But we're not living in the past, in the old days, where you had to do it manually. Nor do we have to use lame software that it'll cross-list your items to different websites, but then when you get a sale, it doesn't remove it. So you, for example, say you have one shirt, and it's for sale on eBay, it's for sale on Poshmark, it's for sale on Mercari, it's for sale on Depop. It's one single shirt you have. It sells on Depop. Well, you're asleep. Middle of the night it sold on Depop. That's great. You got a sale. But you still have that same one item that you have listed on 3 other sites, and it happens to sell on eBay as well. Now you've double sold an item, and that creates a problem, and it creates a bad customer experience. On certain platforms like eBay, one of the worst things you can do on there is to have to cancel an order for not in stock. It is really bad. And no platform obviously wants you doing that because it's a bad experience for the customer. They're expecting you have an item listed and they buy it, you're going to send it to them and they're going to get it. Now, some software came in and it would at least tell you, okay, click this link to remove it from Poshmark and remove it from Mercari and remove it from eBay. That's helpful, but it doesn't help the fact if you're asleep or you're just not looking at your phone or whatever during the time that you got a sale and it double sells. So obviously when cross-listing was that way, and that was the method of doing it, and there was software to make it easy to cross-list, but there was no easy way to remove an item once it had sold on one platform so you didn't risk the chance of a double sale. Those days are gone. Now I know everybody, because they're getting paid promotion fees and they're getting affiliate commissions and stuff, promotes one certain brand. I'm not even going to mention it because I don't want to mention it, because quite frankly, and I got to be blunt, I have not used it, but I've watched people use it, and I know people who are successful resellers who do use it, and the problems they had with it and the malfunctioning. It was, anytime you see things that are hyped up by a lot of resellers, like there's this one polybag company, and all the resellers are hyping it because they get commissions. Actually, I don't think they get real commissions. I think they get credits toward polybags, which is pathetic. When you can find very similar, if not better quality polybags cheaper on all kinds of other sites. My point in saying that is that a lot of times these resellers are just out there promoting stuff. Sometimes they don't even use it. You don't want to trust that. And I'm not even going to tell you cross-listing software to use that. I'm not going to tell you the cross-listing software I use. I'm not here to promote anything to you. I'm just saying there are good options out there today that you can cross-list items safely. And importantly, when you get a sale on one of the platforms, it will remove it on all the rest of them, so you don't get a double sale. Now, the cross-listing software I use, the automatic removing of items once they sell on one platform, the automatic removing of it from other platforms is in beta mode still, but I've never had any issues with it. It just works. It works well. And I sell thousands of items, so it works very well. And I don't have to sit there and monitor, okay, I sold this on eBay. Now I got to go run over to Poshmark and find my item on there and remove it from there. And then I got to go to Mercari. No. I would be adamantly against cross-listing if that's what it took. If you had to do that, manual mode, because it wastes so much time, you'd be better off just listing another item on one main platform instead of trying to scurry around to make sure you don't get double sales and have one item sell 2 or 3 or 4 more times and create havoc for your accounts. So with all this being said, do I recommend cross-listing? Absolutely. If you use good cross-listing software today It will automatically remove an item once it is sold on one platform. It'll remove it from the rest of them, and it just makes your life easy. And the cross listing is actually simple. It doesn't take a lot of work. It imports very well, seamlessly pretty much into other platforms. And some of the other platforms have little quirks, and there maybe is not exact category that matches up. If, for example, you list an item on eBay and you cross list it from eBay to Mercari, there may not be the exact matchup of categories, so you might have to tweak that a little bit, but otherwise it does pretty well. And there's a number of different programs that do it, and they do it well today. My main thing would be to encourage you, what all the resellers are talking about, the newest hyped cross-listing platform that they have some affiliate link in their description, I would avoid that. Because generally that, while it might work very well, it might do perfectly fine, but it's generally overpriced because it's got to pay for all these shilling resellers. And many of them are resellers in name only. They resell only for content. And then they sell you some dumb poly bags or, oh, sign up for this cross-listing platform, just basically trying to get money from you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with affiliate links and recommending things you actually use and enjoy and are blessed by. But I couldn't recommend some of these cross-listing programs that people use and recommend today because they're too expensive. And I've heard so many problems of them not working properly. I can't in good conscience recommend that stuff. And the software I use is very inexpensive and it just works well. But I'm not even here to recommend any particular software for you. I'm just saying it's something you need to open yourself up to as a reseller. The arguments against it are all old arguments. They're arguments from people who don't know what's going on in today's environment. They don't understand the software that's out there today. They're still talking about, well, you know, if you get a sale, then you got to go run to the other platform and remove it real quickly so you don't get a double sale. That's not how it works anymore. And any cross-listing software that still does that, still has manual removing of a sold item from the other platforms it's still listed on, is not software you want to be getting. Forget that. And don't get it if they're talking about, well, in the future, we'll start removing it from these other platforms. When does that mean? I have some software I use for automating my social media posts. And they've been promising certain platforms this integration for TikTok will be available in whenever. It's been years. They're still promising it. Now, it doesn't matter to me. It's not a big deal, but don't get in buying into what's going to be. What does the software look like right here and now? How does it actually function right here and now? And is that good for you and your business? If it is, get it. But if they're just promising you great things in the future, well, that's great. But until it materializes, don't go with that kind of software. And if you want to contact me, I will tell you the software I use. I'm not here to promote it. I don't care if you use it or not. Doesn't matter to me. I just don't want to put it in the description or recommend it because I feel like then it'll just come across like I was trying to sell software I have nothing to do with. There's no affiliate plan for it. There's nothing like that. I don't have anything to do with it except I use it and it works well and I enjoy it, and I would like other resellers to be able to make the most profit possible, and cross-listing is a good way to make more profit. Now, don't think if you're selling on eBay, you're going to sell on Mercari and Poshmark and Depop and all these other sites, Etsy and stuff, and somehow make the same amount of money you're making on eBay on all these other platforms. These other platforms are much smaller than eBay. In some cases, eBay does more traffic in one day than the other platform does in an entire year. So don't expect the world. Don't get yourself all hyped up. I'm not telling you anything like that. But it might be good for another dozen or 2 dozen or 100 or 200, maybe more sales a month. And that adds up. And that could be a real blessing for your business and help you. It could pay for basic stuff. It could pay for your rental, if you have a storage unit or if you have a warehouse or whatever. It can help pay for it can pay for a car if you rent a truck when you go do some massive thrifting. It could pay for that. It could pay for a lot of stuff, and it can help your business bottom line doing better, increasing each and every day, and becoming the success you should be. If you're watching content like this, you're trying to do better. You're trying to better yourself. You could be on here watching frivolous nonsense, wasting your time, listening to people whine about doom and gloom on reselling platforms and whatever, but you're trying to improve yourself. You should congratulate yourself for that, because a lot of people aren't doing that. but you are, and you're trying to see, what should I do? Should I cross list? I've heard there's some problems with it. You now have it laid out before you. You can do whatever you want. And in the end, if you're concerned about it and think, well, I don't know, maybe I don't, just do what you're doing then. Just keep going forward and progress with what you're doing and just excel at that. But I'm going to tell you, today we live in a day when it's super easy to cross list. All the problems of the past don't exist anymore. The different companies with their cross-listing software all handle it now. You can do very well cross-listing, and you can become the best success you should be. So my friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.